Hello, folks, and welcome to Real Estate Q&A. I'm your host, Greg Delane, and on this show, we speak about the different areas of real estate. I am pleased today to have one of the family members of a company that's been around 50 years. You're celebrating your 50 years this year. Her name is Bobbi Flower Cox.
Yes.
Hello. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Okay,
Greg.
can you tell me a little bit about your company?
Yes. So we are a multifaceted real estate company. Robert J. Flower and Company. My father is the founder. This is our 50th year in the real estate industry. And basically we cover things like real estate appraisals. We do appraising of residential and commercial properties, real estate tax grievances, also known as tax certiorari. And we do that for both residential and commercial properties, and we represent investors in real estate tax liens and small developments and whatnot. And then I'm a real estate attorney, so I also have my own practice on the side, and I do real estate law, represent people buying and selling homes and properties and lease negotiations and things of that sort. So it's my father, my mother, my sister, my brother. My brother does the mortgages, and my sister and my dad and my mom are residential, certified residential real estate appraisers, and my father's also a general certified appraiser. So,
holy moly,
lots of real estate in the Flower family.
I'm from Berkeley, California, and as you were telling me that stuff, I was thinking about Sly and the Family Stone. That had a record called "It's a Family Affair."
Oh yeah,
yeah. And so the whole family's in there.
Yeah,
now, I've never done a lot of commercial. How in the world do you appraise a church, a building?
Right.
Like, all right, Donald Trump wants to buy a huge building in New York. How do you appraise? It's easy for me to look at a house and say, let me give you a broker's price opinion of a house. Because there's other houses, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, deck.
Right.
Yeah, in attached garage. How do you do something that's a huge building like that? What do you use for information?
Well, for an appraisal, I actually don't perform the appraisals.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Right.
I'm the real estate attorney, but I know for property tax grievance purposes, because I do residential and commercial property tax grieving, that a commercial property is generally based on the income that it can produce.
Oh.
So it's not based on, if you have a warehouse or, a church or something massive, it's a commercial property, a restaurant, something, you're not going to do it the same way you do as residential, where you look at comparable sales within that neighborhood or a neighboring neighborhood and stuff like that. It's more based on income production. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So, what areas right now should people be looking to? Because before the show we talked about the different times that you can grieve your taxes.
Yes.
And I think White Plains is now over because that was in January.
Yes, White Plains, yes. We just finished White Plains the end of January, was the end of their filing period. And then in February, it's most villages in Westchester County. They all grieve in February, so we just finished that earlier this week, actually. Our next thing coming up is going to be in June. For Westchester County is going to be in June. That's most of the towns in Westchester, most of the cities, not all the cities. As we said, White Plains is January. Yonkers is in November. But, we have Mount Vernon coming up. We have New Rochelle coming up. Town of Greenberg, Town of Rye, City of Rye. So many municipalities, their grievance period is coming up. So people that own properties in those municipalities should definitely pick up the phone, give us a call. We will do a preliminary analysis for anyone interested. It's totally free. We do not charge for that service.
Free.
So, yes. So, you call, we get some information about the property, we'll do a complimentary analysis, and we will tell you honestly whether you have a case or not, because we do work on contingency fee. So the property owner only pays if we are successful and at the end of the process. So, I won't fabricate a case because it's contingency fee. I will take a case that I believe really needs a reduction and that we can win.
Okay.
And, if anyone's thinking of selling a property, grieving the taxes is a fantastic way to try and get that property sold quicker and possibly at a higher price than if you kept it the same with the same higher taxes. I mean, as an experienced realtor, you've probably seen that.
Yes.
A buyer wants to gravitate towards a house that might have the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms as the guy down the street, but if this one has the lower taxes, they're probably going to go towards that house purchase instead of that house purchase.
Absolutely, Bobbi. The last few homes that I've sold, each properties, the taxes were grieved. I just did one on Prospect Street, and Mr. Tibbs had that property grieved. I did one on Meriton right around the corner. Those taxes were grieved. They were in the process before the person bought.
Right.
And that was the biggest incentive for the buyer to buy. Now, one of the crazy things about that house that we sold that was vacant on Prospect, and the taxes were in the process of being grieved, I got something in the mail from a tax grieving guy that wanted to grieve the taxes and called me saying, we can get the taxes cut down by this amount. And I called him up and I said, you sure you can do this? And he says, oh, yes, and we've been in the... I said, well, did you do your research? The taxes on this house are in the process of being grieved right now.
Right.
He says, oh, well, that's great, Greg. Listen, if I can ever help you with anything, come on. So I always have people that are experienced on this show.
Yeah. And
you guys have been around 50 years.
Yes. This is our 50th year. And actually, my father, who founded the company, he helped write the law that's in place today. This is like 30 years ago. That is the law that governs the residential tax grievance process in New York State.
Wow.
So, so talk about, we wrote the book kind of thing. So, and I have to say, experience does count today.
Oh,
I mean, I have a lot of clients who have complained to me that either they themselves got burned or family, friends, neighbors have gotten burned by signing up with, they get something in the mail, a company that seems to be, professional tax grievers. They sign up, they send the papers back, and then, they either don't get a reduction or they get a minuscule reduction, and then you're barred from going in the next year. On a residential tax grievance, once you hit the SCAR level, you can't grieve 2 years in a row. So, people, you have to be careful who you sign up with. I mean, do your homework. Absolutely.
I know that, I could probably go down to the town and get all the paperwork and try to grieve my taxes, but that's not what I do. Right. And I'm not going to a cab driver to do my dental work.
Right.
And I'm not going to try to, I can work on my truck, but I don't work on my truck. I take it somewhere to have it worked on.
Right.
There's no way in the world that I'm going to go down to the town and try to grieve my own taxes. I'm down there all the time, but that's not what I do. And it's so much easier to get the professional people to come in and do your work for you.
Right, absolutely. And that, reminds me, I was at a village recently filing some grievances for clients, and as I was standing at the window waiting my turn to hand in the papers, I had two reps, people that were holding themselves out as specialists in property tax grievance, standing off on the side, and I heard them clearly, and one was saying, well, do we sign this page, or do we sign the top here, or do we sign, where do we sign? And they're trying to help each other figure out where they sign as the reps for other people.
Wow.
They're about to file these papers to grieve taxes for other people, and they don't even know where they're supposed to sign. I mean, it was very basic. if they were really experts, they should know
Sure.
where you signed
Sure.
the paper. I mean, it was upsetting to me, and I didn't say anything, and I just thought those poor people, those
Yeah.
poor customers that signed up with these two people thinking they were putting their home
That's
in
right.
reputable hands,
That's right.
and
Well, see,
it's not going to work out well.
I want the person representing me when they walk into the town. They say, "Hey, Bobby, how you doing?
Right.
What do you got for me? What are we doing?" You
Right,
know,
right.
opposed to, "Can I help you? No, you're not even in the right place. Go and stand in line over there." And
Right. Right.
it makes a world of difference, and you have to be experienced. I think that one of the good things, if there's any good that we can say came out of the big meltdown in the subprime lending and the 100% financing and no income verification, from all that big debacle, is that we don't have any quick buck people still in our business.
Right.
The people that jumped in here to make a quick buck. I remember it was so bad in the real estate industry. I remember people that I would normally have get mortgages for me, or I would send them to do mortgages. I went to send a couple of my clients to see them, and lo and behold, they were a real estate company and mortgage company now. And so they called me and said, "Well, why don't you send me clients anymore?" And I said, "Well, why would I send my client, a qualified client, to your office if they're not going to buy the house that we're looking at? Then what's going to stop you from trying to sell them something else?"
Right.
And he said, "Oh, I wouldn't do that." I said, "Thank you so much."
Right. Thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
Right. I know. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it 5-6 years ago, like you're saying, mortgages was the cottage industry that everybody wanted to get into, make their quick money, and it's so easy and it's so fast. Now, today, it's not mortgages. Now it's property tax grieving. Everybody thinks, I'm just going to call myself an expert and start grieving taxes. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, you need to know. The property owner needs to take a little bit of responsibility, do their homework, ask around, go on the internet, read the website of these people that are calling themselves experts. I mean, I'd say most of my business comes from referrals.
Okay,
So,
now, what's your website? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay, yes.
I want to know what your website is, and whoever's watching can go to this site right now.
absolutely. It's www.flowerrealty.net.
Okay.
That is the website for the company. I have my own website
What's
because I
your-
do have my own law practice.
Okay,
on
and
the
what's
side.
that?
It's www.coxlawyers.com.
Okay. And now you can go to that site now or at the end of the show. I know they're going to put up both of these websites. If I was a homeowner right now and I wanted to call Robert J. Flower and Company, what information would I need that would help you if I called right now and I said, okay, I need to see about getting my taxes grieved? All I'm going to give them is my address. That's it. What can I do to help you if I
Right.
call? What should I have?
Basically, for a residential grievance for a home, which would be 1 to 3 family,
Yes.
you basically need to be able to provide information that's germane to the house. So, if you know square footage, great. How much acreage you have, if you know it. A lot of people don't know that. But basically, what is the style of the home, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how many car garage, or
Yes.
do you have street parking? It's just general information that's very basic about the home. Like I said, a lot of people don't know their exact square footage, or, I mean, it's sometimes you do, but most times people don't. And
Yeah.
so then, you have to go to the municipality and check that out. Like you said, realtors usually do that. Some of them don't. Some of them take the square footage from a prior listing 5 years ago.
That's
or,
the worst.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you need to, for all the new realtors out here, if you're doing real estate, don't copy. I mean, certainly you can look at the picture, and if it's only 3 bedrooms and 1 bath, that's fine. But I've seen a house that has been on the market and had 9, it's been on the market by 5 different offices, and from the 5th agent down to the 2nd agent, they all use the first agent's information.
Right.
And over a period of time, I've seen a house grow. I know it's only 1,000 square foot,
Right.
but when it gets to the 5th agent, it's like 1,400 square foot, and they
know,
all add 100 square feet on it.
Right,
you know,
right. And
they
technically
really,
speaking, you're not supposed to,
That's right.
in the world of appraising, in the world of grieving, in the world of valuing a property, you're not supposed to count basement area. You know, it's subterranean, even if it has windows. You know, a lot of people say, but my basement has windows, you know,
Yes.
and my house is 5,000 square feet, and no, your house is 2,000 square feet. But, you know, it's confusing. If you're not in the industry, it's definitely confusing, which is why property owners should turn to the experts for assistance.
Sure.
So,
we
yeah.
just sold a property, and the house had a walk-up attic, and they had used for years, and I could see where the kids had their 2 different rooms, but it wasn't legal. And I told the guy, these are just rooms.
Right.
You're calling these bedrooms, they're not.
Right.
And unless you want to get a hardwired smoke detector, and you want to get some kind of you got to put in egress windows. I was just naming off things that I know that you have to do, because the town looks at this as, God forbid there's a fire. How do you get out of here?
Right.
If that's the only way down, you need to create a separate situation out of here.
Right.
And a fireman has to be able to climb through the window with his tank on his back. So that little bitty window that you have is not, you know, so we can't use that. Well, I bought it that way. Well, that's wonderful.
Right.
The guy that you bought it from 45 years ago probably is no longer living.
Right.
You're
And he
responsible.
Yes, absolutely.
And, you know,
that's the way the town looks at it. Whoever is the owner now is responsible. Because, as I said, I'm also a real estate attorney and represent clients buying and selling properties and whatnot. So I see that a lot. You know, somebody comes to me, we're putting our house on the market, we'd like you to be our attorney. Wonderful. And then they start saying, well, you know, we finished the attic and we didn't get the permit. And, you know, I say, well, if you're using a realtor, please talk to your realtor.
Yes.
Have them help you through the process if you don't know how to do it, but you need to get that legalized.
Yes.
You know, and I've seen municipalities tell the homeowners, you got to rip it out. You know, it's not done to code. It's not legal. It's not, you know, and so.
Yeah. I remember early on in this business, there was she was tough on me. She's retired now. Her name was Emily Bear. She was an inspector in Greenberg. And she was, but she taught me so much.
Right.
And I remember this guy wanting to put his house on the market. And when I walked through it, you know, because I went through a home inspection course, never to do one, but just to learn more about the structural foundation, why a house has to stand and stand still. And so just to know more about this business. And I went to this guy's house, and when I walked through it, I named off about 5 things he's going to have a problem with.
Right.
After showing him the building card, and on the back of the house, he had a little bitty, it used to be 3 steps down, but he built this little bitty thing and a landing that comes out. I said, well, this is a deck now. And unless you get it legalized, and he went, well, you can't tell me, blah, blah, blah. So he called the town, and she came down there, and my sign was already in his yard because we were going to put the house on the market. But I said, these are issues you're going to have to resolve.
Absolutely.
And I remember her giving this guy a massive haircut.
Oh, really?
Because she said, I see Greg Delane's sign out here. I know he knows this. Did he talk to you about this? And then the guy started fumbling around, and she said, well, now that I'm here, I have to write these violations because my job's on the line. And I felt so good to know that I was doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
And when the guy came back, he had hat in hand, and he was kind of like, what do we have to do? And I said, well, you got to get an architect now and, you know, and get it done. But I knew I was starting to arrive then because I was telling the truth, and I tell all realtors, be honest. Tell exactly the truth, and it's all right to say you don't know. If you don't know, I don't know that part of law. Let me call Bobbi.
Right.
And see what she thinks about that, because I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that point, we actually will, you know, we have a lot of realtors that we work with, and they'll call us up and say, hey, I'm going to meet with a prospective customer. They're thinking of putting their home on the market. They're interviewing me to see if they want to list with me. Can you do an analysis for us and tell us, is there room for a tax reduction here? Because then that realtor then has the power to walk in, meet with this prospective customer and say, this is what I can do for you. And hey, by the way, I also know this wonderful company, been in business for 50 years, and they can get your taxes grieved for you. So it's a tool that who you know and who you work with. You know, I wrote an article not too long ago that the premise of the article was realtors need to be careful with who they will use for recommendations, whether it's a home inspection, property tax grieving, even attorneys. You need to be careful who you refer because it's a reflection of you as the realtor.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely,
make sure that if you're referring 2 or 3 property tax grievance companies, know who they are, know they do good work.
Mm-hmm.
Either use them yourself or have a client use them or a family member, just to see what the experience is like. Because if you make a poor referral, that person is going to look at you in a poor light.
Yeah.
So
I have guys, because I do a lot of foreclosure work for the banks, and in Long Island, I have something closing up in is it Somers? I don't know. But I do a lot of work and I've been doing foreclosure REO work for the bank for about 10 years.
Okay.
And so I know a lot of guys. I have licensed electricians, carpenters, sheetrock, guys that knows what they're doing. Then I have guys that aren't licensed but know a lot. That certainly you don't need a licensed company, a carpenter's company, to come in and put in a couple of studs in a house before you put the sheetrock back up. But if you have to draw an architectural design and things have to be filed and I want them insured, and that's done that way. But the story I'm trying to get to is that I had a lady call me one time and she needed a little bit of work in her basement. And I had referred one of my guys, not thinking this lady's been living here longer than me in this town. Why is she calling me? Because she heard I know so many people, roofers, and
nice.
My guy called me back after 2 weeks and he said, Greg, what did I ever do to you that you would send me on this? If you don't ever want me to work for you, just tell me. And I said, what's wrong? And this lady was relentless with this guy. The job was never good enough. She wanted more work done. She didn't want to pay, and I realized that I didn't screen her enough.
Right.
And I went to the job and got him off the job, paid him off, told her no more work will be done. And I felt so bad because this guy works on my house and I know how good he is.
Right.
So you got to be careful who you refer.
Absolutely.
And who you're referring them to, because
Absolutely.
there are people in our business that are never satisfied.
Right.
You could be the best, honest, greatest, most detailed attorney in the world and they're not happy.
Right.
And I would hate to send you to somebody like that. I'd say, wait a minute, Bobby. Let me go over here and check them out first, because I got a feeling that why did they call me?
Right.
And it gets a little dicey.
Absolutely.
So and you are only as good as the last deal in this business. People, they never remember the tough deals and stuff that you worked out and made to get it done.
Right.
They only remember one mistake, and that flows like wildfire.
Yeah. Well, people will oftentimes clients or prospective clients will call and will determine that they do have a case, and they'll say, well, how much do you think you can save us? And I'll always give them a ballpark. I can't guarantee anything, but they'll say, well, I heard that around the corner you saved my neighbor $7,000 in taxes. Can you do that for me? Well, it's very difficult, because you can't compare one house to the next in the sense of how much can you grieve the taxes, because every single house is different. Most houses have different assessments, even if they're in the same neighborhood. So, people need to just have an open mind that we're going to do our best for you, for your house, for these circumstances, for today. Because maybe I grieved that person's taxes 2 years ago and I got them a $7,000 reduction on their taxes, or maybe it was just that they were grossly overassessed. So, you can't really compare like that, but, we do try and give people a ballpark of how much we think we can save them.
Well, in your business and mine, we get the same questions, and I say, listen, was Mrs. Streisfeld happy with the work that I did for her? Yes, she was very happy. Well, I'm going to work just as hard for you.
Right.
But to try to nail me down to how much I'm going to get you, I can't do that.
No, absolutely not.
Especially in the real estate business, buyers determine what things are worth, not sellers. So to ask me what your house is going to sell for, how can I tell you that?
Right.
That's almost impossible.
Right.
All right. I want you, because we were speaking before the show, you have 2 children.
I do.
All right.
I do.
And The girl is 2?
She's turning 2 on Monday. Yes, and
2.
2. Yes.
And the boy is 5.
And my son is turning 5 on Monday.
We got to say hi to him. Where's the camera?
Yes.
We're right there.
Hi, Brody. Hi, Bria. I love you guys. Happy birthday. Believe it or not, they are both born the same day, but they're 3 years apart.
What?
Yes.
On what date? Today?
February 27th.
February 27th.
Yes. And it's my mother's birthday, so all 3 of them on the same day. It's really, yes, it's amazing.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing.
That kind of sounds, well, Gail, my wife's birthday is Valentine's Day.
Oh, nice.
So whenever we celebrate for 2 days, because I feel that as a child, if your birthday is on another day, a special day, it's kind of like a jip.
Right.
You don't want to be, listen, all you want is a healthy child, and you're here, and let's do the, but you don't want your birthday to be on Thanksgiving.
Right.
You don't want it on Christmas.
And New Year's.
No. It seems like such a jip.
Right.
And your husband, he's into, he's a skating
coach, yes. He is a certified residential appraiser as well. But yeah, it's the whole family. But his background actually is finance. He got his MBA and was working with a company in the city, Booz Allen in Hamilton, and then left them maybe 10 years ago or so. And so went back to skating, which is a passion of his, and he's a skating coach and an international skating judge. So
nice.
Yeah, so but if we ever need him, he's a backup with the real estate appraising. So
how nice.
It's definitely a family affair.
Well, listen, this show goes real quick. We only have about 57 seconds. People ask me on my other show, they said, we always see this on your desk. My brother sent me this. This is one of those old phones way back in the day.
Oh, way back, yes.
And I let people know experience is the difference. And I've been, and I know you've been in the business from this phone to this phone.
It's scary.
Yeah, kind of scary. Yeah, because this thing is amazing. I look at how big this is. This was almost like a weapon or something. But experience is the difference, and you got to deal with people that know what they're doing. Robert J. Flower, I want to commend you. You wrote some of the laws for what the taxes are today. Bobbi, thank you for being on my show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Give her company a call. If you need a lawyer, give her a call. If you need your taxes grieved, attorneys, give them a call. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Right.
Nice to see you.